If you're running an Airbnb business or looking to start one, is an LLC the right entity choice for you? Perhaps. That is why in this video, I am going to educate you on exactly the right entity choice you need to be in. And when you stay to the end, I am going to show you how to make your Airbnb business tax-free. But before I jump in, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep you educated all about taxes. Think about it. You started an Airbnb business. Is an LLC the right choice for you? Many people jump right into an LLC, and it's not a bad choice. The reason why is because an LLC is simple to start. It's really easy. You can get it up and running, and you can go next very quickly. And we know that when we are operating businesses, we want to be in a business structure that limits our liability. And an LLC does just that. Also, we know that most rental real estate is best served operated out of an LLC. But there are certain things I want you to understand. And one of the things I want you to understand is passive income. When you own rental real estate and you're using that rental real estate to receive rents every single month on a long-term rental contract, you're in what we call a passive income business. And a passive income business is defined as a business for which you don't really have to do that much to get into it. You've done all the heavy lifting in the beginning, and now the income is just coming to you recurring every single month. That's considered passive income. And when you're sitting in a passive income business, that income is not subject to self-employment tax. Remember, self-employment tax is at 15.3%. that covers your Social Security, that covers your Medicare. So when you're inside of an LLC and you have net profit of say 10 grand, you're not going to get hit with that 15.3% because you're considered a passive income business. However, IRS looks at whether or not you are providing substantial services. And I want to define substantial services. Substantial services are defined as having a maid come in and clean during the stay of the tenants, providing special services like concierge services. Perhaps you're coming and carrying the guest places. Perhaps you're doing laundry for them. Perhaps you're preparing meals for them. If you are adding in substantial services to make your Airbnb stand out over other Airbnbs, then your business is actually an active business. And here's the thing. When you are in an active business, your net profit is going to be subject to self-employment tax, that 15.3% I keep talking to you about. And the thing that you want to be conscientious of is always strategize about whether you want that Airbnb to be passive or whether you want that Airbnb to be active. And there's so many reasons why you want to strategize around that particular issue. Losses are a big reason why you want to strategize around the reason you want your Airbnb to be passive or you want your Airbnb to be active. I want you to lock in and really pay attention to this. When you run a passive business, losses are limited because in the tax code, we have passive loss limitation rules under code section 469. I like to give you code sections so you can go do research because it's important for you to thoroughly understand. When you are running a passive business, those losses are limited to $25,000 per year if you make under $150,000 per year. That means that if I have losses on my real estate, my losses are locked at $25,000. So if I do renovations, I do repairs, and those things exceed $25,000, I'm not able to deduct them if my income is above $150,000. If my income is between $100,000 and 150, I get a scaled back version of the $25,000. So when you are operating passively, your losses are limited. If your income goes over $150,000, you don't get any of your rental losses. That's right. You don't get any of your rental losses. And I am going to tell you how you can get beyond that as we go further in this video. If you are in an active business, your losses are not limited. Wait, what? That's right. If you are actively managing that business and providing substantial services, your losses are not limited. You're going to file your income and expenses on Schedule C if you are a single member LLC, or on your 1065 if you are a multi-member LLC. But there's not going to be any limitation on the amount of losses that you can take. And I want to make sure you really understand that, because I told you before that if you're passive, your losses are limited. But if you're active, you can take all your losses. And that's a real big distinction. That is the reason why you want to strategize where you are in terms of operating your Airbnb business. Do you want to be passive and not do substantial services, limit your losses? Perhaps. However, you may decide to provide substantial services and get the benefit of all of your losses, especially in the beginning when you're furnishing that Airbnb. When you're first setting it up, you're going to have a lot of expenses. So in the beginning, it may make sense for you to provide substantial services so that you can get all of your deductions in the same year, because I am certain, and speaking from experience, that your deductions are probably going to exceed $25,000. Now, here's something that I want to make sure that you definitely understand. Documentation, documentation, documentation. When you are trying to prove your position to IRS, you want to make sure you can document substantial services. Pictures speak 1,000 words. Make sure you take pictures of everything that you have provided and are doing for tenants. Make sure that you have videos of it. Make sure you have testimonials from your tenants, because it's always going to be your word against IRS. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with IRS, taxpayers are guilty until proven innocent. And we have to prove our cases when we're dealing with IRS. So it's very important that you document, document, document. What's my word? Document. Take pictures of every single thing that you are doing inside of your Airbnb business. Now, I told you that if you stayed to the end, that I was going to tell you how to take your Airbnb income and turn it tax-free. Well, there's a strategy that you can utilize, especially when you are in an active Airbnb business, and that is called utilizing a cost segregation study. What is a cost segregation study? That is where, when you are looking at taking your write-offs on your tax return, you're going to be allowed to take depreciation. Understand that when you purchase an asset like residential rental, commercial rental, any type of real estate, you're going to be able to depreciate the building value of that asset that you purchased. And you're going to be able to depreciate it, which means you're going to be able to write off the cost over 27 and a half years. If it costs you $100,000, that is going to give you $2,750 per year. However, if you do a cost segregation study where you actually say, out of my $100,000 of building costs, I'm going to break out the cost of the plumbing, the cost of the windows, the cost of the pipe. If you're able to break that cost out, you can expense all of that out in the current year, which means that you may be able to take out of that $100,000, you may be able to write off $80,000 in year one. You heard me right, $80,000 in year one. And what is that going to do for you? That is going to allow you to take that $80,000 write-off against all of your Airbnb income and any other income you have on your tax return. That is why it's so important to decide and strategize whether your Airbnb business is going to be passive or whether it's going to be active. If your Airbnb business is going to be passive, you're going to want to operate inside of an LLC. If your Airbnb business is active, you're going to want to switch the taxability to an S corporation. Why? Because of that self-employment tax. Remember, inside of an S corporation, your net profit is not subject to self-employment tax. But you also got to know that if you're inside of an S corp, you have to take some wages on your actual tax return. So here are the key takeaways. Is owning an Airbnb business inside of an LLC the right entity? Yes, if it is a passively operated business. Also, you want to strategize whether you want to be passive or whether you want to be active. You want to also document so you can illustrate and verify your position with IRS. And make that Airbnb tax-free by using cost segregation study as a strategy to reduce your tax bill. And here's the thing. When you know better, you have to do better, which is why I want you to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep you updated on all things tax.